Okay, Adam, you could also add me as co-host if possible.
Absolutely. Let me do that right now. Okay, I think you should be set, Chandra.
Okay, perfect. All right, yeah, so I was just talking about the planning phase. Is everyone able to relate how I'm trying to relate this DevOps or software industry with car industry? Could you kind of see the bigger picture which I was kind of talking about? Okay, so I believe that it is yes. So, we should make this class as interactive as possible. So I would be stopping as much as possible on major milestones or wherever I feel I should get feedback from you. So feel free to, kind of ask any questions. So I was just talking about the infinite loop. Yes, sir.
I'll ask a question on behalf of the class.
And the first question of the boot camp. Welcome, Adam.
Oh, thank you, Instructor Chandra. In the car manufacturing analogy, what is the car? Would a website be the car?
Interesting. Does anyone have any answer for it? Does anyone want to take a try on this? What do you think? In this particular example, will car be a website, or it will be an app, or it could be, let's say, a server? What could it be?
It could be really anything, right? That's like continuously being worked on, or like a single project that needs like input from multiple different teams or different parts of the process.
Exactly. So I think, this could be, so car is an example of to, kind of explain you the process. So it could be any software, we are focusing here on software, but I think the same concept, relies on building hardwares. Even if you're going to kind of build any hardware, let's say I want to kind of make this bottle, then I think I have to plan the same way. I plan the design, then I kind of build a prototype. I get a feedback from people. Then I then make the first launch of the version 1 of this bottle and then reiterate. So similarly, it could be anything. If your product is a website, it could be a website. You plan the website, that what all things should be in the website. For example, you should have about page, you should have contact us page, you should have features page, pricing page. Well, it is a website. If you have an app, it could be an app. So any kind of software which could be developed, which could be built by developers, that can be packaged and deployed by V people, that is DevOps people. Okay, I hope this answers your question.
It does. Thank you.
All right, perfect. So let's go ahead from there. So we all understand what is the planning phase. We plan any software. In fact, we plan everything. We plan our life, we plan our career, we plan our daily cadence, whatever. So similarly, you plan a software. Once planning is done, then developers come and kind of code the thing. They write the software. And once that is done, then business folks will be verifying this. If it is verified, then I think it is packaged, because the simple code is not packaged, right? For example, you have a code that is Android app or iOS app. So that code itself, users don't use. They use the final product that is kind of the packaged version of it. That is the deployed version of it. So that package in person step is done, and then it is released. So once you release this to the public, then you will have to kind of configure the things for your servers. For example, you get a lot of users, then you will kind of increase the capability of your software. Then once it is running fine, then you will monitor the software. For example, you faced any issue, you will monitor why my software was down yesterday for 5 minutes. What could be the reason for it? So monitoring will come into picture. Now, when you monitor, you face some issue, then you again go back and plan. You see, this is the reason it is infinite loop. That because you monitored the thing, then you plan back again that, okay, this thing I am going to resolve this way. Okay. Similarly, yeah, go ahead, Adam.
Oh, thank you. I was going to ask, what's the importance of monitoring in the professional software world?
Mhm, mhm. Okay. So, as I was kind of giving you example, in fact, let's take one of the example of, let's say, Code Platoon website. Okay. Code Platoon has a pretty good website where users, students can come. They can kind of see the programs. They can register on a program. They can see what are the scholarship options available. They could see who are the hiring partners. So we are planning this website. We made a plan. We launched the website. It is a hit. A lot of students are coming. Okay. Now, for example, someday we face that, students are not able to register on DevOps Bootcamp. How would you know this? Worst way is that, your students call you that, hey, Adam, I'm not able to register on DevOps. That is the worst way. That is the least appealing way that a business would like to, give the experience to their students, to the users. What is the best way? You keep monitoring your software. The moment you students click submit, the person should get 200. That is success. If it was not success, are you monitoring that error? That error came. Was it 400? Was it 404? Or what was the issue? Was the database not working? Those issues you need to track yourself proactively, so that the moment that issue arises, you get email, you get Slack message, and you immediately go back to your server and fix the issue. This is proactive way of building software, running a software. So this is the reason it is very important. You have to monitor your server's capability. For example, you have 1 GB of RAM and you have hundreds of users. Let's say it was Christmas season, a lot of new users are coming. Is your software infrastructure capable to handle extra 50 users? If it is not, how would you measure it? You keep measuring the system performance. You monitor the CPU, you monitor the RAM uses, and if it is below 70%, 80%, you are good. If it is more, you proactively go back and improve it, increase it. How would it happen? With monitoring. So this is the importance of monitoring, Adam.
That makes so much sense. Thank you. And I want to ask the class, how many people were already familiar with the importance of monitoring? Can we maybe get a show of hands? Or was this new information for people? A couple folks. So about half and half. And Chandra, I apologize for the interruption. The reason I wanted to ask the class is to encourage all of you to ask questions like this as we go, because again, everything that we're teaching and sharing here for you, it's the real value is being able to understand and explain it. So I think it's really important. Like, if you don't know something that comes up, ask. I know it can feel a little uncomfortable in the beginning, and that's also why I'm kind of doing a little question asking as well. And Chandra, I hope you don't mind my jumping in.
No, not at all. Thank you for making this.
Gentlemen.
Yeah, go ahead.
Sorry to interrupt you, but I was just going to say, I'm not averse to asking questions, but I think one of the problems maybe, well, people are kind of shy right now, but at the same time, there are a lot of unknown unknowns. So Adam, if you can get Adam and Chandra, anybody really, if you guys can keep asking those kinds of questions, if you think there's a very important piece that we need to understand, and everybody's just sitting here looking glassy-eyed, like, we may not know that we should probably know this stuff. So yeah, I would appreciate it if you could keep that up. I mean, obviously not to say like we shouldn't ask our own questions, but yeah.
Awesome. Yes.
Oh, please.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. So I think, I think feel very, very comfortable. I know this is this kind of first class. Okay. And I'm not kind of saying that, why are you not asking questions? Ask questions. That's not the goal. Okay. We are kind of, just making an friendly environment that everyone feels comfortable in asking any question. And there are no wrong question. There are no stupid questions. All questions have the same values. Okay. So feel free, feel very comfortable in asking. If you feel that, some questions are maybe off topic or you're not very sure, no worries. You can ask even after the class. You can ask in Slack if you want to discuss something directly face to face. Feel free to do that. But if you have any doubt or any questions in your mind, just don't keep it to yourself. I'm there to kind of assist you. Adam is there. The whole purpose of this bootcamp is just to give you a friendly environment for learning.
Totally. And Chase, I will do my best to continue doing that. And Chandra, like you're saying, I think mentioning the unknowns is a great point. And I'll do my best. And again, I guess I am going to be the why aren't you asking more questions person, even though I'm not trying to. I think unknowns are totally appropriate to ask about. And it's honestly a huge help. Something that all of you will discover as you get into your professional careers is that it is easy to forget and make assumptions about shared understanding the more specialized you get. And we work very hard not to make those, but this field is so technical that inevitably sometimes it happens.
Sure. Okay, perfect. So I think let's go to the next slide and see where DevOps fits in. This was the whole development cycle of a software, from planning to development to packaging to delivery, deployment, then monitoring the software. So if you see, these are like primarily three areas of any software, be it any small software or large software, a small company, startup, or a large enterprise. So one thing is the development, which is the engineering portion of the team, which is kind of involved in R&D in developing the software. Once software is developed, then you have kind of a QA team, which is kind of ensuring the quality of the software. Is it working fine or not working fine? Any kind of issues, security issues, performance issues, they keep checking the quality. Then finally, once that is done, then you have business or operations team, which kind of takes care of the operations part of the software. DevOps fits in just in mid-between of this. So we are the folks who are kind of ensuring all this team work in cohesion so that a final good product is ready for users. So, as a DevOps team member, we could be helping developers that which kind of software version library you are going to use, which kind of infrastructure you are targeting to build, what is the framework you are going to use. They would be consulting with you. What is the cloud you are going to use? I'm using some of the words which may not be known to you, but don't worry, we will get familiar with all of them. Okay, so for example, I used cloud, I used AWS. So those things, I think from your pivot, probably you must be knowing. But if you feel you do not know, you can ask me, and I will try to help you as much as possible. Okay, any questions so far? Okay, perfect. So DevOps team would be assisting engineering team. We would be assisting QA team. For example, software are built, but it needs to be tested. To do testing, it needs to be deployed on test server. So who will build that testing server? It is us DevOps folks who build those servers as well. Once they face any issues, they report any issues. If it is related to system or infrastructure, they would be letting us know. We will work on that. For example, we are expecting 1,000 concurrent users on our software. We built the server assuming that 2 GB of RAM should be good enough, because we cannot, we don't have a lot of money that we can build any server, right? We have to optimize cost as well. But testing team informed that, 1,000 concurrent users are not able to use this software. So what would we be doing? We will go back and increase the infrastructure size. So we'll be talking with QA people as well. Then operations people, if they keep using the software, any issues comes, they will let us know. So we sit in mid-between of all these three major areas or teams of any particular product or company. Okay, perfect. So does it sound like a very important role? You have like a lot of authority, a lot of importance in any company? It is, isn't it? All right. Okay. Then if everyone feels comfortable so far, then I think let me know, or if there are any questions. No.
And actually, I'll jump in as to Chase's point. I don't always know the unknowns. So if there are any unknowns floating out here, now would be a good time to mention them. I will ask one question. Chandra, it sounds like DevOps can cover a lot of different things. What does it actually look like on a day-to-day basis as like a junior member of a team?
Interesting. Very good question. Okay. So, if I kind of in fact, in our capstone project, we will be simulating that. How would your life look like in the real company? We will simulate that in the capstone project. What is capstone? Wait for it. I will come to that. So, in fact, what happens is that, in fact, Adam was kind of mentioning his schedule when he was working as engineer. You start a day with your stand-up. In fact, in our team as well, we do a stand-ups. Okay, we plan that. Okay, what is our agenda? Depending on company, they define how they are going to plan. But majorly, it is about where everyone is, what is the blocker anyone is facing, and who can help the person in that blocker. So this kind of round robin, a DevOps person will be there, okay, in that meeting. Depending on, again, on the team side, it varies a lot. And when everyone's turn comes, he will be talking that, okay, you know what, yesterday, team X gave me this software. I was working on deploying this on the test server. I faced this issue, and I'm kind of working on increasing the infrastructure capability. By tomorrow end, I feel that I will be able to redeploy the software on this test server. As of now, I think I need help from testing team, that they report me if this server is working fine or not. Over to you, kind of. So you do that. After that, you get back to your work. In before noon session, you would be having meetings. Meetings are definitely a good part of a DevOps team, because you're talking with developer teams, you're talking with all three teams. Sometimes you are even called in management meetings or teams, because for example, I was working in Singapore, then they would call me for almost like my 20% of the time used to go in meeting. So I, in fact, with top leadership, they used to call, what is happening with this software. In fact, one of the day, the whole banking software, the chat software was down for one day, and we were everyone on fire. That's what is going to happen. So those situations come. In fact, don't worry, those exciting stories, news, a lot of those news will be coming to you. In fact, Adam has set a good list of guest speakers who are going to talk this mishap stories, downtown stories, a lot of these. So that will be coming. So, that then you have meeting, then you work, then you have a meeting with your own team. Then you kind of deploy the server, and kind of the more details, I think I will be going in the next slide.
Thank you.
All right.
That makes a lot of sense. Where resources for other teams to help get their software through the car factory.
Totally, yes. You are the one which is kind of shipping and hitting the end users. Okay. If it good works, you are applauded. If it fails, your software is down, you are the one on the front line of the row. Okay. All right. So why DevOps is hard? Okay. So it's hard in terms of demand. It is hard in terms of risk, because it is not an easy job. If you are able to kind of be, as a software engineer, not able to write the code today, no worries, you can write it tomorrow. Till you're able to meet a deadline, your life is safe, you are good. But on DevOps, you are on edge almost many of the time, because when your software is getting deployed, if it is down, well, you are screwed, because no company wants that their software is down. If you see, even for Instagram goes down for 5 or 10 minutes, it becomes a global news that Instagram was down for 15 minutes. Everyone is kind of wondering what is happening. Last 2021, I was in AWS reInvent, okay, in Las Vegas. And that point of time itself, AWS S3, you will know what is S3, or maybe you might have already learned during your pre-work. S3 was down for almost like a day or 2 days. And you can imagine how many businesses were suffering because of this. So DevOps is hot. It is kind of a very risky, but very rewarding role. So why is it in demand? So majorly it has many benefits, a lot of importance in many areas, primarily 4, which I have noted down from my perspective. One is it directly improves the productivity and rate of innovation. Because, writing code is one part of it, but shipping to the users, getting their users' feedback is equally important, in fact, more important. And, developers' job is expertise is writing the software. Then this is not their job to deploy because this is a different skill set. So if as a DevOps engineer, you are able to assist development team, then it kind of increases the company's productivity, efficiency by twice, thrice, and many times. So it is for productivity and rate of innovation. It is very important. Second, it reduces cost and time to deliver. In this world is so competitive. For any software, there are like 2, 5, 6 major companies fighting to get the chunk of the business, the market segment. Rate of innovation, rate of delivering the software is the thing which makes you leader in the industry. Okay, there are many softwares for CRM software, but Freshworks, HubSpot, they are leader because they were one of the first. They were one of the first and doing the best job. So it reduces cost and time to deliver. Last 2, these are like faster issue resolution and reduced complexity. So since you are monitoring the software every time, so whenever issue comes, in fact, before issue comes, most of the time you will be able to fix the issue. For example, there is load increasing on a server. Since you are monitoring the server, you can go ahead and increase the server capability, launch one more server. It gives better user experience and you're reducing the complexity. And final, higher stability. Since there is one team, one person, or one set of people who are involved in all the process of this, from development to deployment to configuration to monitoring, this increases the stability of the software. Okay, so these are like, this may feel very abstract. You could say how stable, how reducing the complexity. Don't worry, wait for it. Once we start using the tools, you will see that, oh my God, life is so easier now with this. Okay, so you will be learning that. All right, so folks, what do you feel about this? Why DevOps is hot? Can someone tell some additional benefits of using DevOps? Jess, do you want to go ahead? Any benefit? No. Okay, no.
I think DevOps is important because kind of like when you're working on a project that involves different teams or organizations, it's kind of hard to get them to talk to each other, or just keeping a project on a specific timeline to where everyone have enough time to work on it. So I think it's beneficial when you're trying to get those, get those smaller wins, and continuously pushing out those smaller updates instead of trying to push out everything at once in a huge package that might end up failing in the end.
Exactly, totally, Brandon. Very, very, very close. Yeah, go ahead, Sky.
Yeah, so recently I was just messing around with Docker. So I feel like DevOps is hot because somebody that I was working with hadn't never experienced Docker or even Django, and I had walked them through, because I had already preset this up, even some shell scripts to auto start Docker and this Django project for them. So it was awesome to see how easy it was for them to, I was like, okay, download this. All right, run this shell script. And then they were like, oh my gosh. So just seeing how easy it is for the end user, because that's a different skill set, like you said, Chandra. So they had no experience with that, and they just did a command, and had their server up and running, and they were like, yes. So that's all. Thank you.
Exactly, and this is what you will feel. This is what you will say once you kind of start using Docker and containers. So initially what we will be doing is, I will be in fact coming to modules. You will be doing things in the hard way. You'll feel the pain. Oh my God, it is tough. For example, as Sky was saying, Docker was, oh my God, wow. Once you learn this, you say, wow, you don't need to install Postgres. I could just run Docker up and Postgres is running. Docker down and, kind of this is down. So similarly, I think it increases what Sky was mentioning is the productivity, speed. You're able to innovate faster. You're able to build things faster. Very good, Sky. Anybody else?
Yeah, I guess I would just make a comment on like what my expectations for DevOps were based on what I was reading about before the class started today, and with what you're saying now, kind of feels like it's like backing what I expected. Is like the DevOps position is kind of an intermediary between software and the user, because if you're so deep in the code, you don't really know how to deal with the user when you already have your expectations for what the code's doing, and then the consumer's like, but it's not doing what I want to do. So you need like that intermediate guy who has different not so in-depth knowledge of everything, but a little bit of knowledge about everything, I guess, if that makes sense.
Very true. Exactly. So, in fact, in any organization, I think DevOps people are the folks who understand maximum of the technology of that company, because they are working on every piece of it. They have not coded the code, but code has passed through them. They didn't test this code, but the testing has happened on their server, so they know it. So this is the reason you are perhaps very, very important in any company.
And the only thing I want to add to that is some of what you're saying about being close to the user probably is, if the software is even user facing to begin with, like if we're not deploying, like a server that has an API used by other applications at the company, the people writing the user interface software do a lot of that as well. However, all of the monitoring to get information about when there are problems and things like that is very much what DevOps does to get that data.
Totally, very beautifully summarizing, Adam. Okay, all right. Then,
Great questions, by the way.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, and Chandra, it's great to see this walkthrough of DevOps, because I knew some of this, but this hasn't been my area of professional expertise, so it's very cool to see.
That's okay. My pleasure. All right, so I think I have to save time for the remaining portion, the day one of the lecture as well for Adam. So I'm kind of moving a bit faster. So, I kind of already answered these things. I already talked about all of this. So in fact, what DevOps engineers do as a day-to-day job, we saw that it is very important. It is a highly responsible job, and it is high in demand and important. So what do we do? So there's some of this, not all of this. Some of the most important ones I have written for you. In fact, once we finish few weeks of class, you will be knowing more than me that what I should be doing for a company. So first one is building Docker images for the team. This could be not only you, even developers would be doing it, but you will be setting that infrastructure. You will be setting up that environment for them. You would be writing that CI/CD pipeline. Yeah, go ahead, Adam.
I was going to ask on behalf of the class, at a high level, what is a Docker image?
Okay, so
yeah, no, I know there's a lot of pieces.
Yeah, this is something. Okay, but I think let's try to understand this. Okay, so for example, okay, let's say we want to let me think of an analogy. Okay, you want to make a cake for your birthday. Okay, you need some items. Okay, so for that you have a many of the items that these are the items I need. Okay, so every time when you want to make a cake, you go to the shopping store, you buy those items, you bring to your house, and you make a cake. Okay, you make the cake, you eat the cake. Good, no problem, not a big deal. But if let's say you were running a business, okay, which has bakery business, you sell hundreds of cakes every day, then it is not possible that you go to a shopping store every day, buy every single item, come make the cake and give it to the users, because it takes a lot of time. It is just not possible. And most of the people need the same type of things, right? They may be needing some different types of cherries. They would be needing some different kind of decorations or kind of sweetener on the cake, but the cake mold sometimes remains the same. Okay, for example, if you had red velvet cake, even though it was one user or 100 users, the ingredients remains the same. So what software industry does, in the same way how you would be doing, is you go buy the items, make the main base of the cake, and keep it preserved with you. Whenever you want to give it to your customers, you take the red velvet, put the cherries, put the toppings, put the ice or whatever the customer needs, and give it to users, right? Same way software industry happens. You don't write all the libraries. You do not install all the libraries. Okay, what you do is you create a virtual environment, okay, which is not exactly a virtual machine, but a virtual environment where you just say that, you know what, I need Python, I need this particular version of library, I need this particular version of, let's say, a configuration. This is my database environment. Just build that particular base for me, so that whenever I need to launch the server, I will go and use that particular base and create a separate model of it. Okay, so for example, you want to launch, let's say, Platoon website, okay, on one server, no problem. You build that image, keep it with you, launch on one server. Demand increases, no problem. Take that base and put it on different server. More demand needed, you can take the base, put in more. Every time you don't need to install libraries, every time you don't need to worry about configurations, databases, it is packaged in a virtual place in a document, which automatically does this for you. You don't have to worry about library version. You don't have to worry about installation. You don't have to worry about where the configuration is sitting, which database to connect. It does all of that automatically. Okay, so this was on a very, very high level. Okay, once we go back to build it, we have to first see what is the real problem you're facing. Then you will think, can we have a solution? Docker will come as the most efficient solution for you at that point of time. Okay, so this is kind of very abstract view from a cake, but don't worry, the cake time is coming. We all will be cutting it together.
It's basically just pretty much the same thing as cloning your operating system, correct? I mean, minus the hardware aspect, you know, Docker takes care of that, so that's not an issue. So drivers and everything don't matter when you're porting it over to different hardware, but that's essentially pretty on par with what Docker does.
Pretty close. And one more thing, in fact, takes care of Chase. So that is your operating system. Not only hardware, it abstracts your operating system as well. Okay, so you don't have to worry about operating system. What you only, so there is a hypervisor which kind of takes care of all of this. Okay, now I will not go into hypervisor, driver, and all now, but kind of more or less you can think that it is abstraction of hardware, abstraction of operating system. All right. Okay, so moving on, I think I was talking about what engineers do. Another important job you will be doing is CI/CD. Okay, that is continuous integration and continuous deployment. So whenever development team, they add any features, they fix any bug, you don't have to go and manually deploy that. Because, for example, if a login button was not working, development team fixes the issue. You cannot go every time and deploy that additional small feature. You automate this. The moment development team fixes this, testing team gives green signal, it gets deployed automatically. So that speed, that particular process you will be building. Create and maintain deployment environment. You build the software, you deployed this on the server. Next what? You will be maintaining the server. You will be maintaining the configuration. You will be maintaining the environment. So you will be doing that. Then deploy application to the cluster. You deploy on one server. Good job. A startup got funding. You need more servers. Then who will be deploying this to different clusters of software? We will be doing that. Then monitoring errors, bugs, reporting to your team, communication, planning, all of this. Okay. So I hope everyone is able to kind of relate. Where do we fit in software industry? What is the big picture? Anybody who wants to add any comments on this? All right. So what are the skill sets that we have to build for it? Okay. So I think I will be kind of moving on this because more or less, I think we covered all of this. So one is the cloud and server infrastructure. This is the most important part you will be learning, you will be doing. You will create accounts, servers, maintain servers, create services, destroy services, create servers, destroy them, delete them, upgrade them, downgrade them, a lot of this. This is your primary skill set you have to gain during this bootcamp. Second is tools and technologies. Okay. So lot of tools are there. Okay. Just for like, for example, you want to maintain a code. Okay. There are multiple offerings. Okay. GitHub is the most premier one, but you have GitLab as well. You have Bitbucket as well. So you have to know the most demanded tools. You have to learn them. Then you have to learn security. Because deploying a thing, building a thing is one task. Keeping it safe is equally important. Otherwise, anyone can come, go into your database and steal your data. They could wipe your data. A lot of news about this you must be hearing day to day. So this is another job. Last one, and the most important, is communication. Since you are central to the whole teams, all teams, you have to maintain the communication with everyone. Testing team finds a bug, it should be informed to development team. Most of the time it will happen automatically, but you have to build that channel. If any kind of issues come, server is down, you have to communicate that to your management, to your end users that, hey, we are experiencing issue. We will be back in 1 hour and you fix the issue. So these are some of the important skill sets you have to learn during this bootcamp. Okay. So we will be learning all of them through a lot of tools, and you will see where those tools fit in which area as we move forward in the curriculum. All right. Any questions on this, folks?
Would you say a lot of this is done through the tools, or I guess you like in the business aspect, is everything done manually, or just does it just depend on like budget for the company?
Right. Your last part that you said is the most important one, because servers, DevOps, infrastructures are very costly thing to maintain. So budget is one of the most important aspect. In fact, this is one of the most important meetings you will be doing once you reach to the senior level. What server we need, which cloud we need to use, which service we need, so that we keep the cost at the minimum, still give the best experience. Netflix, they spend around 30 to 40% of their revenue just on servers. You can imagine. Sometimes it was half of their revenue was going in servers. Maintaining server is that costly actually. That is obviously the reason. But apart from this depends on the size of the company, team of the company, type of the company. But more or less, you will be automating as much as possible. Okay. In fact, this is what company needs you, so that they automate the things, they reduces human error, makes things faster, and obviously reduces the cost. Okay. But again, thing is like practically, many of the time you'll be doing things manually. Okay. Because let's say when I joined DBS Bank in Singapore, now this was a bank, one of the largest bank of Southeast Asia. Okay. Everything is on mainframe. The core banking is on mainframe. You cannot shut down the mainframe system for 1 minute, because there could be like thousands of transactions going out and in every second. So you cannot just do anything there. You want to make any changes, no problem. You go and you do the things on either on the live running server, if it is possible, or you kind of build another replica of it, you make the changes and quickly switch it. Many of the time it has to be manual. So, we try to automate things. You know what? In fact, in the industry, only 20 to 30% adoption of DevOps is there. 70-80% of the companies are not able to adopt it because it is not easy to fit in if it is not a start since starting. This is where a lot of investment is happening in migration. In fact, half of the job you will be doing if it is a big enterprise is migration. You take on-premise system, you take on-premise data, you take manual systems, automate it, put it on cloud, put it on AWS. Okay, Princeton. All right, Jess, you were adding something, I think.
Sorry, sometimes my space bar doesn't work for whatever reason. Anyway, I was just going to ask, how deep into security do you really need to be? I mean, it seems like there are a lot of very important hats that a DevOps engineer is supposed to put on. So, how deeply are we going to have to hone that skill in particular?
Very good question, Jess. So now, interestingly, you are definitely involved in a lot of things in a very important role. But again, this depends on the size of the company and your level. If you are joining in the junior levels as a starting role, you don't have to worry about a lot of things. For example, security initially, because security is very critical. Normally, the senior engineer folks, senior DevOps engineers will be doing that for you. But you need to learn this. So we will be learning this as we go along. But in junior roles, in starting, you don't have to worry much as of now. To crack your interview, you need to know a chunk of it, but not all of this. Don't worry. You learn this as you work in any organization you join for 5-6 months and a year. You will then be learning a lot of this. Okay. So don't worry much. It's not like, you will be going and you're given AWS account, manage our hundreds of server. That's not going to happen if it is not a startup or something. If it's startup, probably you will be having it. And, it's not like only you will be wearing those hats. Depending on the size of the company, you will have other folks. One is security expert. That's all. Another person is cloud expert. It's not your job to worry about security then. That guy takes care of the security, not you. Okay. So this is how companies work, depending on the size, scale of the business. Okay, so I think I'm running over time. So probably we have half an hour before we go for lunch.
You're good. I think we'll do, we have a half hour to lunch. I think we'll do the 90-minute lunch, and then I can get started on Linux with everyone after that longer break.
I think a half an hour is good enough for me to finish. So I will be, in fact, most of the things which I wanted to talk is already covered. So now I will be able to move faster. So what is my expectation? Okay, from all of you. In fact, not only me, in fact, all the instruction team, we expect these things from you to learn, to do, to kind of gain during this boot camp. One is learn collaboration and communication. Okay, so Adam was mentioning there will be a lot of opportunities of working together on assignments, except your assessments, which may be individual. There you cannot work together. Apart from that, in assignment, in capstone project, group project, you have to work together because this is how you work in organization. You are not the sole person doing everything. You have to work with people. Where would you learn that thing? Right here. You are 9 smart folks here. Work with each other, learn from all of you. Everyone is kind of filled with different talent, different energy, different capability. You will learn that working together. It is continuous learning process. Today could be kind of very high. Some days it could be a bit easy class. Some day it could be high. Some day it could be low. In fact, I tell my students that, DevOps is like a sine wave. Okay, from mathematics, if you remember, the way we have designed this bootcamp is not making like this. It is going up, then going down, going up, then going down. Some topics will be tough, but we want to give you a bit of easy time. Next topic will be easier. So like this, we'll be planning up things. Okay. Then problem solving skills, you have to develop this. Okay. So this is what you do once you join the organization. You face problems every day. You will be giving assignments, assessment, capstone projects. You work, if individually or in a group, and solve those problems. Think logically, how would you approach the problem? Then finally, these are abstract things which I would like you to learn. That is kind of think the philosophy of DevOps. What DevOps is about. It is about communication. It is about collaboration. It is about doing things faster, more efficiently, at lower cost, more automation. This is the philosophy you have to build. Anything which can be automated, automate it. Anything which can be done at lower cost, do it. This is a philosophy you have to learn. In interviews, when someone asks you a question, there could be 2-3 different ways of doing the same thing. You could deploy the same software in different ways. Which one is the most efficient, least costly? Go for that. Okay. Again, then learn methodologies. So, these are abstract things. We will be learning the experiment-based tools, technologies. So don't fear of, trying these new things. So this is my expectation from you. All other expectations have been covered by Adam. So I think, I hope this kind of gives you the complete picture that what makes a successful bootcamp, fulfilling these expectations that we have from you. Okay, so now I am going to talk about the curriculum. Adam has already talked in a very detailed manner. So I will be skipping those parts which has been covered. So majorly this bootcamp is in 4 different segments. Okay, 4 modules. The first module is, let me see. Yeah. In fact, I may be wrong with weeks. Okay, because I think we have made some changes recently, but week 1 to week 4. Okay.
I think you're right.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, is it? Okay, good. So this is Linux AWS cloud infrastructure. This is your week 1. All is in topics are in the calendar Adam has sent to you already. This is where you learn to build servers, work on the server, manage the server, destroy the server. You learn here. Next is automation and CI/CD. You automate things. Week 1, you will be doing manually. Next week, you'll be doing automatically. You enter a code, you commit the code, deployment happens automatically. Boom, you run, just commit the code and sleep. Okay, you will see in an hour, software is deployed. You do here CI/CD. You get a code, you test the code. Is the code working fine or not? Any issues, you report to the developers automatically. This happens in this week. Then comes monitoring and security. Monitoring is very important. You build the software, you observe it always. Okay. There is a role called SRE, System Reliability Engineer. So, okay, you are reliability engineer. You have to ensure reliability of the software. Is it up? Is it working? Any troubles? You learn in this week. All finer details are in the calendar covered by Adam already. Finally, you will be learning the most beautiful part of the bootcamp, that is Docker and Kubernetes, where you will be automating everything. Whatever you have learned so far, everything will be in one place, in one page, very, very easily, in a beautiful manner. So you will see and embrace. After every module, you will have assessment. First assessment will be after Linux and AWS infrastructure. More details will be shared later, but you will have assessment. Some will be individual, some group. So you will get to know, don't worry. Automation and CI/CD, again, you will have a module test assessment on this. So you will have 4 assessment. After 4 assessment, you will be well versed with every component of DevOps. You'll be ready for the industry. If you fulfill all the course requirement, you finish all the projects and assignment. Finally, you will have capstone project, the most important and most tiring part of the bootcamp. We will be a very difficult, but I don't want to sound very scary, so maybe moderately difficult project. You will be given code, not a good code, very ugly code. You have to ensure that it gets deployed. It is working fine. Any issues, it needs to resolve. I will be hitting your server with hundreds of simulated users. Your server should be able to handle. One server, it should run 2 servers automatically. I won't let you touch your computer. It should happen automatically. Capstone project. Here you will have 2 teams. One team will be working on one stack. Another will be working on another stack. You will have probably 5-6 days, 7-8 days of 9-10 days of time to work on this complete thing. Planning, ideating, developing. Don't worry, development, I'm your developer. Okay, I will write the code for you. Adam and I will be writing code for you. We will not ask you that, you know what, go write an application on Java Spring. It should have this feature. No, that's not DevOps engineers do. We give you the code. The rest is your job. Okay, is it a deal done? Is everyone on the same page with me? Any questions so far? Okay, so that's a deal then. We'll be doing it together. Then, while you are doing all of this, you will be working on multiple stacks, multiple technologies that will build your portfolio. You know, there are like artists, painters, they have portfolios. They go in exhibitions and show their portfolio. You will build your portfolio. When you go to interviewers, you show your portfolio. You know what? I deployed this application on Java Spring on AWS using this service. I deployed a Django project using the DevOps on, let's say Docker on this. That's your portfolio. That tells what can you do. You will be doing that all together. More details, wait for it. Finally, certification has already been talked. So I will skip this page. So most of you have gotten, some of you are yet to go there. In fact, the folks who have not gotten it, I will probably send you a link. I had written a very hacky way of how can you get certification. In fact, there's a blog I had written on this. 6 AWS certification passing techniques. These are very, very hacky implemented method of how would you pass a certification. 100%. Okay, so I will send this link. Oh, And I'm sorry, I didn't see the chat because I was on full screen. Okay, it seems I have not missed anything so far. So normally I have another screen where I keep checking the chat. I'll be doing this from the next week. So this is the link I shared. You can, where did my presentation go? Oh yeah, here, yeah. If you read the blog, you will be able to find like what are the different hacky ways. In fact, I should have shared this before. This could have made your life easier. In fact, there are dozens of such videos and blogs online, but you could use them whenever you feel that you're preparing for examination. These hack tricks helps a lot. So certification has already been talked, so I will probably skip. And how will you be doing all of this? With lectures. Lectures will be long, they may be short, they may be easy, they may be tough. They may be boring like this. You may be sleeping some of the classes, but don't sleep, okay? Keep your attention, keep your focus on the lecture, and we will be finishing this in before noon sessions. So lectures are the most important part, and this is the place where you will be interacting with me a lot. So initially in the boot classes, Skylar will be coming in picture, kind of helping out. Once the class starts, I will be taking care of the lecture, showing the hands-on. Some of the hands-on, you may not be able to follow with me properly. Don't worry. You will have the recording, you will have the code. Do it at your own pace. No need to, follow with me if you're not able to, okay? I will be there pausing for everyone. Otherwise, video is there. Code is there for you to follow. After that, in afternoon, I will be having one-to-one sessions with most of you. Maybe once in a week or twice in a week, probably. We all will be talking there one-to-one. I will see who has any trouble, any problem. Talk to me directly if you want, okay? So that will be my office hour. I will give an office hour kind of where I will be talking with anyone if needed, okay? So this is your lectures. And secondly, the most important one is your hands-on labs. Some of this may be scary, some of this may be easy, some of this may be difficult, some of the code will just not work. You will say, what, this stupid code just doesn't run. Don't worry, don't get scared. We will help you fix, we will help you achieve this. This is the second most important thing, your hands-on lab. Apart from this, rest of the things have already been talked by Adam. I think about assignments, requirements, projects, capstone, I already talked. So I think more or less, I talked about the things which I have expectations from you. So with this, I will finish this session 2. If there are any questions, I will be taking this question now. Or this is a small picture here that you see. This is kind of a earthen lamp. This is from a festival in India, which is called Deepavali, if anyone is aware of. Has anyone heard about Deepavali festival? No? So this is
I
a
have
festival.
not.
Oh no, okay. So this,
They're mustard oil lamps, right?
oh yeah, you're right. So these
Diwali
are,
was around the time I went to Rishikesh,
oh nice.
but I
Yeah,
didn't see any Diwali festivals. I only saw the Ganga Aarti.
oh my God, you have seen it more than me then, because I haven't seen that myself, honestly. Yeah. So the beautiful part of this is not made of candles. Candles are hydrocarbons, okay? And this is kind of made from soil. So soil is taken by kind of potters, and they kind of give it a shape. They put it in fire, and this becomes kind of an earthen lamp. You put oil in this, generally mustard oil or purified cream, and you put kind of cotton and you light it. Okay, this is considered very holy and pious. People do meditation, they light it and they perform meditation. I also do that. Maybe that could be another lecture you will be learning with me while doing this. So this earth lamp signifies that with just one lamp, that is kind of a teacher. We call it guru in Hindi, in Indian language. That is kind of your light, the guru, the teacher who knows it. All students are the lights or the lamps which are still not burning. You come in contact with the guru, with a teacher, and you again start lighting just like your guru, just like your teacher. You learn all those things from him. So this is the picture I generally show it to my student, that I see all of you as we all become the same lighting candle once we, by the end of the time of the boot camp, all of we are on the same page. All right, so time and technology waits for none. It's time for all of us to gear and get ready for this coming exciting time and doing a lot of things together, working on projects and learning together. I finished my lecture here. I'm open for any questions if you could not ask during the session.
There was one question in the chat. I asked this student to throw it in Slack because it might be a little bit off topic, but if Podman was starting to replace Docker.
Okay, so Podman is a different. Oh yeah, go ahead.
I was just going to say that we can also tackle that in Slack if you think that's better.
Okay, yeah, this is something very open-ended discussion. But if you ask my opinion, no, it is not. But yeah, again, there could be different ways of interpreting things. But as of now, Docker is the industry standard, and Podman is not exactly a replacement of Docker. This is a different tool, actually. That is not part of our bootcamp syllabus, but you will be learning a very, very similar tool. But you will know what it is. We'll be learning it. Any other questions from anyone?
Yeah, I was just going to make a suggestion. Actually, could we make sure that any links be put onto Slack rather than in this chat here? I mean, could do both, but as well in Slack, just so we can have it for future reference.
100%, I agree. Yeah, I would do that. So
Thank you.
Totally. Yeah.
Oh, so I had a question that maybe should be answered later, but it was about connecting to the class server. I'm able to connect with Git Bash, but when I try to connect with Ubuntu, the WSL Ubuntu, I'm getting a error. It's saying that the permissions are too open. So I went in there and checked the permissions, and it's showing that the permissions are set differently than what is showing through Git Bash.
I know exactly what the issue is.
I saw a
Austin,
smiling face. Go ahead.
Yeah, I can help you out there. So for whatever reason, if your PIM file is on the Windows file system, you can't change the permissions of the file from Linux. So the easiest way to fix it is to either just completely move it from your Windows file system onto Linux or copy it. And then you should be able to chmod 400, which makes it readable only, no problem.
Okay, so I'll just copy it from my Windows directory to the Linux one.
Correct. Yeah.
And the only thing I'll throw in there. Oh,
I was going to ask, do you know how to get the WSL thing in Windows File Explorer, Austin?
Are you talking about just finding where it's at?
Let's before we dive into debugging, actually, let me do 2 quick announcements. First of all, let me stop recording